Hello, welcome to a video that I'm making, new format. Well, yeah. Um, so I am currently participating in Inktober 2025, and I decided to do a video of day 11. Technically, it was day 10's prompt, but I got 10 and 11 mixed up, so I'm doing day 10's prompt, and yesterday I did day 11's. So today's prompt is sweep, and I started out with doing focusing more on trying to do an anatomy study. I wanted to try and work on posing. Mainly because I couldn't think of anything unique or interesting to do for sweep. This first idea again is a character with a broom sweeping. Here I go in and try and define the lines along with correcting any errors that I've made. I'm not great at anatomical studies or at drawing anatomically accurate. I don't have the knowledge yet to make something accurate, but that's why I try. Here I start to notice that I have a lot of empty space, and what I've done in my previous Inktober prompts is I'll fill up space with more sketches. Here I do a larger sketch of the head to help kind of add more detail. Here I do the torso. Though even with this, I was very unsatisfied with how things were going. It wasn't dynamic. It wasn't interesting. I don't know, just wasn't satisfied with it. And here I take it out to start erasing, that way it doesn't shake the camera a lot. But eventually I decide to just take the page out because there are too many pencil marks left. I try and not do that so I don't waste paper, but I don't know. Back to the idea of where to go. Soon you'll see that I pull up Crunchyroll actually. So I decided to look into the other idea of a leg sweep. That has a lot of action and is a very dynamic pose. It's very horizontal as well, hence why I switched the paper to lay landscape. If I ever run out of ideas for characters or who to draw, I like to turn to animes that I like watching. And for the leg sweep, the character that I found fit that prompt the most was your Forger from Spy Family. So here I tried to get a rough idea or rough sketch of how I want the pose to look or the frame to look. I'm not happy with it, so I erase it. It's not quite in the perspective that I want it to be. And here you'll see that I start to flesh out my the concept in my head a bit more. But eventually I will go back and redo it. But one thing that I kind of realize is once I have an idea in mind and once I go through a couple trial and errors, it's much easier to go and to recreate what I want. in a more efficient manner. I also ended up making this too high up on the page, but at that point I didn't feel like redrawing that, so I left it how it is, but I was able to fill out the rest of the space in a decent manner, which made it have less of an imbalance. But here you can see the pose is a lot clearer, and kind of my objective might be become more apparent. Here I decided to add a swoosh. Can't remember what it's called, but it's like animation tearing or something, and I use that to add more movement into the leg, so it's a more dynamic pose. I also start to ground the character by creating a plane, which, looking back on my process, made it so much clearer, and the pose was more effective. So very happy with that choice that I made. So there I go and look at some reference pictures of your forger and her Thorn Princess outfit, I think. And now I go back in with my pencil and start to define some lines now that I'm confident in the base that I have, and now that I'm ready to work on finalizing everything. Also here you can notice that my camera decided to become overexposed, so I messed with the settings a bit. It'll happen one more time later on in the video, but sharpen the pencil to get finer details on the face. I'll erase it though because it's not in the right spot. And throughout all of this, I still don't have a strong understanding of anatomy or how things are supposed to look correctly, but one thing that I kind of go off of is if it looks fine, then for the most part it should be fine. It's not a very professional way of thinking about it, but it is effective. I think here I want to add a little doodle in the bottom, or sketch. I'm gonna add Anya in the bottom with her waku waku phrase. I like to add silly things into my drawings. Make it fit the scene as well. Yeah. Here I start to go through all my ink pens. Now I actually bought some more yesterday, and I bought that bag so I can hold everything, and I have a lot more now, but I always start with the liners, and then here I pick through some skin tones that I think would work, and later on I don't show it, but I also add some other colors that'll help to color everything in. Start out with a small Faber-Castell ink pen. I love Faber-Castell pens, mainly because I think of it as a professional or artist graded tool. Can't tell you how good it is compared to other professional ink pens, but I don't know, I've stuck with them. They're relatively cheap as well. compared to other ones, but yeah. Add another character on the ground to fill out that empty space on the left to try and balance everything out a bit. Now I go on to the medium, I think, 0.7 millimeters, and I'll just add some line weight, which always can benefit in drawing, especially if it's if it needs more, and by more I mean more depth or more visual interest. Start filling things in, and then here I kind of remember that I bought a thicker felt tip marker in black, so now I start to go through and fill in some thicker areas. And then now I started the checkerboard pattern, which was something that I was planning on doing since I added in the floor grid. And I think that because of how loose I made the blocks, I think it helps to add more motion compared to having clear-cut squares. Now I start working on Anya and getting her inked in. Inktober is something that I like to... This is actually my second time participating in it. The first time I did in 2021. But this time I decided to come around again to it because now that I'm in art college, or in an art program in college, I want to go through and get better with practice and have more of a art life outside of school. I take away the sketchbook now to erase all the pencil marks. It's not very noticeable on camera, but in person you can tell how it cleans everything up and makes it look much nicer. And then I could leave it black and white, but obviously I went out and bought some more colored ink, pens, markers, so I decided to go through and use what I have. One color I don't have is a red, but I did have a hot pink, which I'll be adding in a second, and that works fine enough. Go in and add a bit of blue marker to add a bit of color contrast to the whatever it's called. I can't think of it. But yeah, that's how everything turned out. I go in with Inktober 25, the prompt, find a place to sign my name, and I like to add the day of Inktober that I did it on. I'm not sure if I'll do any more videos in the future. This didn't take too long. The drawing total took around an hour or maybe an hour and a half, including the empty time of me trying to figure out what all I wanted to do or what I wanted to draw. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah, live audio recording, so first try. I don't feel like doing anything else. Insta plug, would appreciate a visit. But yeah, thank you. and I wouldn't expect another one. I don't know, I'm lazy. And I was just kind of doing this as an experiment, but yeah. Thank you. Check out my Instagram. And I'll see you in a future video. Bye-bye.